ladies and gentlemen of Asteroid Fight Club. Thank you for coming to this public service announcement about flu season 2020. I love you and I appreciate you. And this episode is brought to us by God and beer. So cheers, y'all. I think it is Wednesday. I do not know. But last time I heard, there were no hurricanes, tropical storms, or cyclones on the Atlantic seaboard or in the Gulf of Mexico. Though we got some serious shit we were watching. After the first week of October, coming out of the Gulf, I think it's going to Florida. How strong it will be, I do not know. We know we get an Eris wind event during the Eris alignment, which can go across like the state. But for the next 3 days, it doesn't seem like we have any hurricanes, tropical storms, typhoons, cyclones to deal with here in the US of A or in the islands. And so, having to be the guy that says, hey y'all, let's stay cool and stay cool September, and having to just remind everybody to be smart, be cool. And then, like, there are challenges we all have to deal with as human beings, as life is complex. One of them is the flu. And for like 3 years before 2019, I didn't get sick. I spent a lot of time in the foxhole, but I didn't get the flu. I didn't get sick. Because getting sick as a human being really sucks. Like if you've ever been really sick, you know, either congested or throwing up or coughing or anything that comes with like a flu or any type of major sickness, sucks. And then if it's really bad, you get crazy flu dreams or fever dreams. And then you're like, I thought I was gonna die. And then I had all these crazy dreams. And then boom, you get better. But being sick sucks. And a lot of times, the flu season in my lifetime has taken place during the season change. And it goes from the like hot air to like cold moist. When like the fire and ice, when the ice is like, we are taking over. It is our equinox now. They're like, that always seems to be a shift. That when it shifts from the hot half of the season to the cold, cooler half of the season, that's when everybody gets sick. Or I mean, not, like 70% of people where during like a 3-month period, like lots of people just get sick. And so if you get sick like Thanksgiving, your birthday, Christmas, New Year's, Halloween, it's one thing to get sick and be like, oh my God, I'm shitting and puking. That's more food poisoning, which is a whole nother thing. What's it talking about? Okay. So I'm just saying, we're going to flu season. And so everybody has been like an armchair statistician during the 6 months we've been dealing with the coronavirus, COVID, call it what you will. And then like throwing all these flu stats in like off flu season. So we don't even know what the flu season is going to be like. And I would guess it's going to be really strong. And because the inner white cell spirit defense system we all have it in our bodies, immune system, like it runs off a lot of things like happiness, diet, outlook. And so yeah, in many ways a lot of our immune systems are down. And so, as part of the overall general theme of all of 2020, and technically since like 2015, my advice has been to work together as a team because we're going to have a lot of challenges to deal with, especially in 2020, and we're here now. But now we're rolling up into flu season. And how bad it will be, I don't know. It is that weird point in the end of September where, people are usually starting to get sick by Halloween. So last year I had like a month flu, and I think it may have been the coronavirus in like November. But I was like sick for a month. And because I make videos daily, I even have records of me going, hey man, sorry my video production is down. I'm sick and this shit feels horrible. Anywho, so that's one of the reasons I'm paranoid this year, because whatever the heck that bug was last year, I don't want that thing. And I'm going to try to avoid this year's flu season altogether if I can. And that there will still have rolling lockdowns across the planet in the 215 different countries where the tons of different places doing weird whack-a-mole strategies. And I guess, so it's part of it, like, we know the next 40 days are going to be supercharged, intense. And that it's just best to be cool. And that we do get the luxury of going through whatever may come. They say an asteroid's coming by. I'm not that worried about the asteroid. I'm saying we have the luxury, a lot of us do, to be able to stay home and stay safe. Whatever is coming in the air, the flu, whatever winds are blowing through the whole fucking planet right now, that everybody should be playing defense. I've been saying this all year. I don't know what we're going to face next, but it'll probably be more challenges. So I'm saying, it's not going to be the guy like, hey y'all, flu season is coming up soon. Within X amount of southerly dew points, maybe. And so that, definitely be as prepared as you can for the next 3 months, the rest of the year. And back up all your just in cases if you can, and talking about food and batteries and stuff. And that now is a horrible time to protest. Everybody's had their big discussions for the last decade, so now everybody gets to vote in 40 days. So just let everybody vote however they want to vote. And then let's be honest with the results and go from there. We survived this long, and we'll probably carry through this weird civil war that started since the Avengers Civil War movie came out with Captain America and Iron Man, bro. 2016. That's when all this started. All right. I was watching some cast interviews last night. I saw this one with Seth Haber. Crap, now I'm getting names wrong. Haber, Armisen, and Seth Meyers. Bill Hader. Anyway, they're all Saturday Night Live guys. And if I did have to pick some type of media church, they're like, okay, I will go to rallies for these people. It would be for the cast of Saturday Night Live. That since I've been a kid, they have consistently made me laugh for 30 years of my life, if not more. So I love Saturday Night Live. And when not everybody's being funny, I always look to them. Whenever the world is dark, they have laughs. And so I'm watching this thing, and it just, Seth, Bill, and Fred Armisen worked on SNL together, and then they made some documentary show thingy, homage, anywho. And they were talking about this on this panel. And then they explained, they're like, oh, and by the way, Seth is responsible for President Trump. Every action has a way of action in action, where they used to have this thing called, there's the White House press conference dinner. where the White House, the White House and the press used to get along. Asterisk. And so they would always have a comedian come and roast all the politicians and all the celebrities and all, like, they gave like a comedian like a microphone to roast everybody, which was always dangerous and weird. And for what I consider comedians, the bards, storytellers, like the people who add a je ne sais quoi of magic to life and laughter and wonder. The cool ones. I totally love the bards, man. Always have. But it's always dangerous to be the bard, get up there and tell jokes. Because sometimes, you tell one joke the wrong way, all those powerful people get super pissed off. And sure, in theory, you're allowed to tell jokes, but it's always been dangerous for the bards. Like, we all know that there was a strong mafia presence throughout the Rat Pack. Like, the Rat Pack and even Hollywood back in the days, analog, like there was always a strong mafia presence. Was talking about, so that I went back because I watched, like 2 years ago, Obama did one of the Obama White House roasts. Obama did like a 20-minute set, and he was hilarious. It was like one of the best. He's an amazing, like he's a good actor, good speaker, good performer. I don't care what you say about him. Is as someone who can get up and talk. Like, the guy's got skills, and he was funny. And it's hard for me to imagine someone who is really funny being evil. Like, I've never met anyone my entire life who's really funny and really evil or a bad person. Like, they don't, usually most of the time the really funny people are really good people. And definitely good people to have around. Anyway, so I then went and watched like 8 of the roasts, or 5 or like 6 of like every year when they would come in and roast the president. And they've been doing it for a while. So it's a long history of comics over like a decade of good ones too. And so Seth got up there, I think it was 2013, and he roasted the shit out of Trump. And remember, Trump has been in the media, like, he's literally been one of the, like, Lifestyles, Rich and Famous, National Enquirer, like, Entertainment Tonight. Like, he's been like this giant ship of, well, the whole television world, reality world, movie. Like, he's been an ambassador for media his whole life. And so in these weird, like, so he's always been deeply wrapped in the media. And he always kind of has, from my perspective, has liked to argue with New York. And he has a weird relationship with New York. Anywho, so Seth totally roasted him. And supposedly he was so pissed off, he's like, I'm going to run for president, and I will show you. Made me look bad. And so, like, that was one of the main things, like, that was one of the deciding factors. He's like, I ain't going to let the comedians push me around. And he won. So I just thought that was fascinating. But that's like, everything we do, everything we say, how we treat each other, these energies reverberate. And so it's like Housewives of the United States of America. And it's like high drama all the time. That's what it's become. Like, and now, like, the Housewives of the United States of America, which is all of us, in this season, we're in lockdown. Because we got a virus running around. People fighting over masks. That's like the ultimate, like, cops, reality TV, Housewives of Beverly Hills or Orange County, where, like, Susan refuses to wear her mask. And Diane is a mask vigilant. So it's like high drama all the time. In the middle of like a plague that has happened like in 1918, like it's happened across the globe, in multiple places. multiple times over the last 100 years, 1,000 years, 2,000 years. Like, this is one of the things that we're looking out for in Asteroid Fight Club. That, oh shit, since I've been Planetary Defense Commander, we definitely could come across a plague. We had I forget, I'm bad with the names of every one that comes out. And so I forget what it was in Ebola, was it in Dallas? When I was there, was it 2015, 2013? It was like, there's Ebola in your town. And they busted in. It was just weird. Anywho, was it talking about? Oh, viruses. And they made a bunch of movies that talked about freaking viruses nonstop. So, was not surprised when we got hit by a plague, the pandemic in 2020. Especially with Saturn and Pluto conjuncting. And now Saturn is retrograding backwards for until the 28th. So we're getting back to that point that was January 15th, which is why I think lockdowns will return sometime in October. I'm not trying to piss anyone off. There's no reason to argue. For the next 40 days, there's no real reason to argue with anyone. Whatever's going to happen, I think you are probably safer on your couch and that you can, you just have to be real smart about the next 3 months. I think the virus is real. I think we're going into flu season. And then this election, is why I've been talking lately about the Aztecs and the Mayans. And then at some point, the Europeans came over and wiped them out. That was 500 years ago. They had big towns, they had cities, they had tons of shit. At some point, from the other part of the planet, Europeans just came over boom. And so we're 500 years past that, and we're still at the point where it's yo, through times like these, we should definitely feed everybody and stop charging every single American on average $1.3 million in 30-year medical costs or whatever. And the whole throwing people in prison for profit is that's very Spanish Inquisition-y. If you go to study the Spanish Inquisition and all the shit that they did during that time, hey, what was it talking about? The energy is crazy. Oh yeah, it's flu season. So this is a flu season public service announcement to Asteroid Fight Club. That, like Uncle Buck says, John Candy, be smart during flu season. And I still think the big difference maker is literally the spit and spittle and the force, so. But I look at it doesn't seem like we're going to have any clear guidance on much before the election. And so at this point, me telling people, hey, I believe it's real. I wear a mask in intelligent situations, especially indoors and around people. And for the next 3 or 4 months, I don't plan on going to large gatherings, or that if I do go out somewhere, it will be very smart and whatever I'm going out for is worth it. But the people who have to go to work and help everybody else during this, as I believe the virus will get stronger in the winter during flu season, that these plague pandemic things usually last between about 2 to 3 years, unless it's something like chicken pox, and that's a different animal. But the viruses usually last 2 to 3 years, then they have like 3 or 4 spikes in over the duration of time. From the research I've done, that's what I've found. So the surges have been weird for sure. And it's definitely like a very superhero-y thing. Or like if you're an Air Force pilot or just like wearing a mask, or Marines, or whenever it's like we saw in the wildfires, all the smoke that's in the air and all the, yeah, dude, while everything's burning, there's just a lot of reasons to wear a mask, a lot of reasons not to protest, a lot of reasons not to argue, a lot of reasons not to fight. That we have an election so that like a truce should be called for 40 days among Americans. Like, hey, we're all allowed to vote. We're all allowed to have our opinion as adults. Let us all vote. And then no matter who wins, we'll do the very best we can as a nation and as a world to make it through the next 10 years. I'm a big fan of big new ideas, although those seem to scare people. And this is a PSA about flu season. So, what was it talking about? I don't think I've had a day off in a long time. If I were Trump's personal security, I would be asking, hey man, knowing that the virus is real, you've said it yourself 100 times, knowing the history of viruses anywhere associated like this, what is your plan, man? And that knowing the winter wave is coming, why would you be throwing 5 rallies a week out in groups of people during the winter wave? You can give your speeches from a safe spot, a controlled environment, and you can even spend more time writing your speeches. That the upside of giving large public speeches to groups who are sitting close together and a lot of them not wearing masks, like I'm losing my vocabulary eloquence if I ever had it, but I'm just saying that like what is actually being accomplished by flying into the state, gathering those people, that we've been in like a Zoom environment. And so there's no reason to be risking the commander-in-chief. I still don't understand it. And as planetary defense commander, it still freaks me out. And I've still been talking about it. Like, I'm just saying, not in charge of his security or defense. I'm sure anyone on his team listens to me. I'm saying I do not, it freaks me out as planetary defense commander like every day. I'm like, for your safety, bro. I don't get it. What is the upside risk reward? Why is this happening? And so going into the Saturn retrograding back to Pluto, like I have been asking people around this period to, man, definitely during this period now to like the 11th-ish of October, everybody should be playing defense to see what type of next level boss we get this time. So I don't care what everybody's fighting about or what the argument is or what the, like, man, let's all buckle down, stay cool, calm down, you know, have a staycation. Congress and the House should definitely do everything they can to help people with money, food, electricity, you know, for the next, I would say, year and a half. And so the energy has been super duper incredible for a while. Technically since 2012, it just feels like it gets bigger and bigger. But I'm still here with you. And just as that one day where Seth Meyers pissed off Trump, that like there still have to be, and in the yin and the yang, the reverse piss off affecting. Where instead of pissing somebody's off, you're making your fellow brother man be like, hey, I've seen the light. I've come to Jesus. And I mean that in a very be cool kind of way, not a dogmatic, where like I stop being a dick or an asshole or not, or was it talking about? I know. I do. It's flu season. And I'm worried about flu season. I'm concerned as planetary defense commander. It's like the next on the giant advent calendar of 2020. It's like, okay, we are now in the hurricane season lull. We are going to be on high alert again in about a week, I think. We do not know what will pop up in the next 7 days. And so the back to school thingy, the way that this whole, what will happen between now and the middle of October, it's like, this is like the biggest, weirdest social experiment ever. And we're all here now in it together. And it's very exciting, for lack of a better term. And I'm definitely doing my best. Because I think if we can keep it together and start making good decisions, like we can be operating at super awesome levels by 2022. And we all gotta stop being a dick. Vote no on Civil War. That's the dumbest shit ever. So how many days is that? I don't know. It's been a lot of days. So yeah, let's stay cool and let's play defense and be smart. And this period has been described as the battle of the gods, the battle of the planets. That my math says this is around like anywhere from an 80,000 to 100,000 year event that we're going through with the Saturn, Pluto, Neptune, VP113, Eris, all the stuff. Like, we're in the future, man, together, you and I. We're here 2020. And that looked like shit. But did you see Bill Belichick? We're all Belichicked out right now, man. I think we've all got a little bit of the 900 yard stare. But it does feel like a great 80s or 90s movie where all we gotta do is be cool. Calm down and stop fighting with each other. And I believe that is going to happen. Even if it takes divine intervention and a whole lot of miracles. So cheers to that. Oh, now that I've had a beer and a sip, I'm off my rocker saying that crazy shit. Man, this is between me and you. This is the Asteroid Fight Club PSA. And I just spit in my hand, which is why bars are problematic in a pandemic environment. Shit, I just forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, about the planets. Man, there's so much we do not know about the firmament above us. There's so much all of us, no matter your age, as every day that we spent looking at the sun or the moon or the planets or the stars, there's so much we don't know about all the shit that is in our sky. Like, we've been given photographs. We've heard a lot of stories. Yeah, we went to the moon once or twice. Then we're, no way. We're thinking about going to Mars. It's way out there, super problematic. A lot of issues have to be solved. It's a one-way trip. Anywho, and the sun, that shit is too hot. Can't get there. I don't know, so we've been sold a lot of stories and given a lot of photographs. We don't know shit. If there's one thing that I'm very cynical and disappointed about as an adult male, is that having grown up being like, hey, when we get to the future, everything's gonna be solar powered. We have jetpacks. You know, cars are gonna, and everything's gonna run on magnets. But that's not what happened. Keep losing my train of thought, which is bad to do in a PSA. So yeah, be smart about the flu. But, and this is another weird, but that's what I'm saying. So like, the sky, we don't know shit, man. And like a lot of people, it's one of the things like, we know so little about the sky. That's still like one of the weirdest things about being a human being is that for whatever reason, our space program just got put on pause. Or like never moved forward again in any serious capacity where public technologies did not advance. Like all space agencies are kind of weird. So I just gotta say, in the whole context of everything, that seems to be super frustrating. And it could fill up a million science fiction novels to what could possibly be the truth. I don't know. I've never been to the moon. I know I've never flown up past upper Earth atmosphere. And as a 15-year-old, I would have guessed at this point we would have had some type of upper atmosphere truck that I could fly around in. So I could at least get really high, if not going to the moon, if we hadn't made it to the moon yet, in a, like, we can get back and forth capacity. Because it's just right there in the sky every night. Like, I wouldn't even have to need to land on the moon. But I always thought it would be cool to, like, you could at least fly out to the moon real close and see it and then come back to your planet. I thought there was a chance we would have that capacity because in the 60s and 70s, space agencies were moving pretty fast. And I want to say this. I feel like we're at DEF CON WTF, where yesterday the vice president's plane had to make a emergency landing because a bird hit it. And there's video of, like, I don't know, something that may have been feathers exploded in the engine. There was some type of explosion, and a Russian fighter shot down a Russian jet fighter. So, of all the things that you're watching, for the pulse of the, like, avoid World War III stuff, I don't really watch whatever the media or the internets are talking about. I watch the air, aviation. And so, and the skies definitely have seemed very turbulent in 2020, more turbulent than I remember them being. And so it's like, that's, it's like, so I feel like we're kind of at DEF CON WTF, where since 5-6 years I've been said, hey, let's all avoid World War III or just any type of a war during this stressed out pandemic lockdown, all the things, grand transition that have been happening. That, like, wars, especially between major nations or any nations, is definitely not going to help the situation. The risk game is over. But since everybody's got invisible lines to protect and nations to lead, and no one has a uniform flame, there will be skirmishes amongst the 215 nations during this pandemic. The Wall Street seems to be doing fine. It's just the people and the city or state or nation workers, like the government employees, the people. So, having our vice president need to make an emergency landing because some type of feather explosion on Air Force 2 or 3, whatever it's called, and then having a Russian jet shoot down a Russian jet. I don't know if you guys know this, but, like, it was a year or two ago where Iran shot down an Iranian plane. I was like, yo, that is, whoa, what? And so there's a very, like, whoa, dude, it is still Stay Cool September. I do not know how long I'll have the privilege to be here with y'all as Planetary Defense Commander, Star-Lord, New Thor 7, the T. But I'm going to try and remind everybody, hey, stay cool. Let's avoid World War III. Play defense. And if we can all work together, we can have tons of good things again. We've, like, locked down and stripped everybody of all the cool, good things. But doom is not here, and these are not end times. We are just mismanaging, like, everything. So let's stop mismanaging everything. But like 500 years ago, there were Aztecs who were sacrificing thousands of people to rain gods and the money gods and the gold gods and the snake gods. And then you had the Spanish Inquisition where they were sacrificing people with written laws. They used the Magna Carta to torture people. And that was only 500 years ago. And so how much have we learned? I don't fucking know. And we're going to find out in the next 3 months. And I love you. And so it's just weird to have the president at a rally in a pandemic as the vice president's plane has to make an emergency landing as a Russian jet is shot down. That whole day is like, I'm like, what is this energy? DEFCON WTF, which is like a new Thor News Asteroid Fight Club. I can't believe we've reached this level. DEFCON. And I love you. So I don't know how long I'll be here. I don't know how long you'll be here. I'm glad we've made this journey together. And no, I do not think this is doom. But it's definitely going to get weird over the next 3 months. And nobody knows what's going to happen next. Life is a very complex, dynamic miracle. Got a lot of moving parts. 7 billion moving people. Cheers. And so you can definitely look at it that when Europeans came over and the population of Native Americans from North, Central, and South went from like 30 million to 2 million. That definitely 450 years later, 500 years later, we have all had this agreement that like, no, it is not okay to kill 28 million people. Like we advanced that far into society to where we have grown as a planet and cavemen that we do not need to sacrifice millions of people. So that weird evolution of peace has been in place, although you have had your quote-unquote world wars. But I guess that's like sacrifice due to argument. I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is if we're going to get over that shit where we sacrifice through attrition or military or being dumbasses or just old groups trying to follow old gods that were mean as fuck. What's it saying? Anywho, I'm betting on the good guys. I'm betting that civilization, families, life, progress, it stays together and it moves forward. But we have definitely been stuck in a rut for like a decade. Yo. So it's flu season. It's definitely flu season. You guys are great, and I love you. And Earth has definitely been a weird planet since I've been here. I'm telling y'all, ever since we harnessed electricity, things have moved on a much faster scale. And so it's like 200 years after electricity, we got to like the digital age, and now we're 20 years into that. If that's even an accurate description. And so the fact that we have kept it together into September 23rd, 2020, to me is amazing within itself. So yeah, and I guess I'm betting that the majority of people are good people. We've been sold a bad bill of goods. And that we all deserve basic human rights. And there's definitely enough food and resources to feed everybody. And I don't know what's going to happen next, except for flu season's coming. And I definitely don't want to get it. And one of the ways you can catch or give or get the flu, and I would guess the coronavirus, is through kissing. And so in the right situation with the right person, I would risk kissing in flu season, COVID wave number 2, as long as she was super cool, super smart, played awesome defense, planned to play awesome defense. You know what I'm saying? So it's like calculated risks. That's the point I'm trying to make, that we're all kind of, we won't get Jupiter and Saturn through Capricorn until December 20th. And they both line up together. And then they go into Aquarius. Basically, we're all grounded till December. And you don't have to believe that, but watch the lockdowns will probably come rolling in, not just here, but like in the UK and Israel, and as they play whack-a-mole without a plan. And so technically, it's like we've been grounded by the universe. And we got to be smart and then figure out a way how to make it to the next year and a half without killing each other or sacrificing any portion of the public. And so there are definitely a lot of, outside of politics, there are a lot of interesting things going on or out there in the world. I mean, you could still get out into the world. You can, like, people, you can go, you can just be smart about, like, the virus will be here for at least a year and a half. It's been my estimate for the last 7 months, like for 2 years. And so that, like, we're still mentally preparing and figuring out the fact that, yeah, we got this ain't disappearing at the election. We will be dealing with this situation for 2 years. And that this virus, which has happened multiple times in some form or fashion, or hundreds of thousands of years, it's not going to bring the rapture. It's not going to bring the end of times. It's just going to fuck up our old way of doing shit. And so there's a saying like, you're only as strong as your weakest link. And that I believe we could solve it and fix it if everybody agreed to work together as a team, and that we didn't want to catch this fucking alien virus, so we'd figure out a way together how to avoid it, make it through this next year and a half. I don't know, what was it talking about? I read my horoscope and it's like, dude, it's not a good day to communicate. I was like, dude, I'm communicating anyway. I gotta tell people about the flu season. It is coming. Flu's not a hoax. So if you add the flu on top of everything else, and then we've got probably another hurricane or two in like 10 days, 11, probably, maybe. And then somewhere around there, we have the second wave. I mean, the second peak, or like, and then the election. And then any, like, rioting, protesting, waving guns at each, like, yo, dude, like I said, we've all taken the last 4 years to figure out who is going to vote, who isn't going to vote, what their stance is on everything. Nobody's going to come out with some great new idea. I don't think any great new idea, or unless they're like, hey, peace, let's all work together. No matter who wins, let's do what we can to feed America and make it through this virus together. Unless that happens, that everybody seems to be really entrenched on who they're going to vote for. So now everybody just gets to go do it. And then we hope there's a fair process, and then we do the best we can together with whoever wins under this 250-year-old system that has been picked apart by Wall Street up to the point, like the Constitution, it was like only Congress can print their money. And then they stopped doing that. And so the whole rule of law and has been, and control of currency has been a very questionable. What's it talking about? So I guess, like, man, that's why I'm still got to be like, why are you throwing so, like, technically the president could throw like a rally a day for the next 40 days. He's been doing one like 5 out of 7. So like I said, it's now like a buzz shock to me, like, yo, bro, American bro, President bro, Commander Chief bro, why are you throwing around? Why? What is the, why? I still don't understand. What's the upside? Why? I don't recommend it. And I know a lot of people are like, hey, it's a hoax. Or, hey, he's Superman. The virus cannot touch him and affect him. He has the full armor of God. I guess we'll see. Gale Sayers died today. He was in a movie that made me cry multiple times. I saw it multiple times in my life, called Brian's Song. He was a football player and an actor. And the movie Brian's Song is an amazing movie that shows the human spirit. And he was one of the best running backs of all time. And every running back has their own style of running. And Gale Sayers just had one of the smoothest styles of running. And so we've had a lot of death, dude. And so Trump's brother has passed away this year. Kenny Rogers, Charlie Daniels, a lot of people, Chadwick Boseman. And like, so I just don't understand the whole virus strategy of 5 rallies every 7 days. It seems dangerous, man. But I'm not on their defense team. I don't have all the data. But the next 40 days there will probably be enough shit for me to monitor from my foxhole. And so I just recommend being smart and playing defense and staying cool during definitely the rest of Stay Cool September and all of October, which has had the most Thor News, Asteroid Fight Club, Astonishers, Red Alert, Red, like the month of like, oh my God, this is like whatever boss is the universe is gonna throw at us this month. This is the one. Like we're all getting ready, geared up, going through all of our training for October. What's coming in October? I don't know, but let's be ready, my friends. And we made it this far, so we're like a week away. So I'm having my little freak out public service announcement. 2 beers here with you. Probably looking red in the face because I think when I have emotions, it makes my blood go on faster because I'm having strong emotions. So my face gets all red, or I start thinking really fast thoughts, then my blood just starts woo, and that's what makes my face get red. Or maybe it's just because I'm overweight. Who knows? I'm still wearing the band that says God is big enough. And this shit is crazy. So it's like a year and a half of avoid the flu/virus. And don't get it. And if you get it, don't pass it on. Like, it's a game of a year and a half of that. And the next 3-month period is amazing. Like, the data set, that this is the next big data set, that what does or doesn't happen with flu and coronavirus over the winter, like the fall and winter. That is the next big unknown data set that we have been waiting on to figure out all this shit. What is and isn't real, how deadly and dangerous it is. Like, we won't really know until after the winter, in my opinion. And so I can definitely forego large indoor gatherings or even medium indoor gatherings, especially with strangers I don't know, over the next 3 months, while we get a good glimpse of how bad things are going to get again with the virus and the flu. And that's all I have to say about that. I love you. Stay cool.